I think we could probably kick things off. I'm going to be getting into kind of like an intro to the intro before we get into full introductions and our agenda today. I would also love to hear your thoughts and any feedback surrounding this topic that we're just popping up on the screen here. So HBR had published an interesting article, and it was titled, "What a Year of Work from Home Has Done to Our Relationships at Work." The article goes on to say social capital is critical to a thriving workplace for both employees and organizations. It helps knowledge and information flow. It spurs new ideas and energizes our thinking. And it contributes to lower absence, lower turnover, and better organizational performance. The shift to remote work, however, has changed the nature of social capital in organizations and not necessarily for the better. So if we go into the next slide, there's kind of like some key trends that the article goes on to describe. One of them being how the shift to remote work shrunk people's networks and interactions within close networks increased. So the number of people posting in chats and Teams channels designed to include the whole team have decreased by 5%. And in contrast, the number of people posting small group or one-on-one chats has increased by 87%. Another trend that the article was talking about was that there was less productivity and innovation from collaborative activities. So 72% of managers would prefer that their team be working in an office. And then one other key trend was how younger workers and employees may be experiencing the pain of social isolation more. So about 75% of millennial and Gen Z workers feel lonely and isolated at work. We'd love to hear any thoughts or comments on this topic. I know for me, in my own conversations with people in the HR space, I've learned from them that the shift to remote work has changed the nature of social capital in their organizations, making it more difficult to establish and maintain relationships and networks. So as a result, these organizations, they're needing to take steps to mitigate the challenges of remote work by prompting virtual team building activities, encouraging informational communication, and creating opportunity for virtual collaboration. So with that said, I'm curious for any of you out there tuning in today, has your organization done any fun team building events or team building activities, whether that's virtual or not virtual? Would love to hear if you have, you can share that in the chat if you'd like.
Yeah, don't be shy. Let's hear it.
I know for us, we've done quite a few super fun like escape rooms, and what are some other ones, Aaron? We've done so many.
Yeah, we even have one later this afternoon where we are doing some trivia, some icebreaker sessions. Trivia or the escape rooms are always fun. Always enjoy those.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Yes, trivia is so good. Cool. All right, well, we'll just head into the next slide. We're your hosts for today. My name's Jenna. I've got Aaron here with me today as well. So I'm going to be the host for today's webinar. I'm super passionate about wellness and employee recognition, and I'm committed to fostering a positive work culture that emphasizes teamwork, communication, and mutual respect. So excited to have Aaron in here today with me. Aaron by day is a culture advocate at Bucketlist Rewards with over 12 years in marketing and advertising. He's a really strong advocate for employee rewards and recognition and loves work culture built around fun and being yourself. But by night, Aaron, a dad bod, father of 3, loves playing sports, specifically hockey. Just recently, he started his own draft style ice hockey league. When Aaron's not playing hockey or spending time with his family, you can likely find him playing darts or playing board games from his collection of over 140. Any board game lovers out there? I'm sure Aaron would love to hear from you.
If we've got board game lovers out there, hit me up after. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Love chatting about that. Thanks for the intro, Jenna.
Yeah, you bet. And then, of course, we'll just go over some quick housekeeping items. Just going to draw your attention to a few buttons here. So the first one is the chat button. So please feel free to engage and participate within the chat. If at any moment you're having a technical issue or you have questions that pop up, we'll be able to assist you through the chat and get to as many questions as possible. We also will be having a Q&A. So as the presentation moves along, please feel free to submit those questions that you'd like answered. And of course, we'll always do our best to answer as many as possible. And then throughout the presentation, we're going to be running a few polls. So obviously, we would love your participation on that and engagement. We share the results on the screen, but they're aggregated and anonymous. So just so that you're aware of that. And then at the conclusion of the presentation, you're going to earn your professional development credits for your participation and engagement. So be sure to stick around to earn those credits. And finally, the event will be recorded and it will be shared afterwards. So if you want to refer back to it or share it or send it to anyone, you can feel free to do so. With that said, our webinar today is being presented to you by Bucketlist Rewards, the #1 employee recognition platform. We're really excited to be focusing in on the topic of building employee connections today. This is our first rewards and recognition masterclass, and it's going to be a new series for us. So thanks so much for joining in with us today for this first time experience. We'll just head into the next slide. All right. We love a good icebreaker questions. Would love to hear in the chat from you. What is something you've always wanted to try, but you never have?
Well,
do you have anything, Aaron?
I was just going to ask you that. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
For me, snowboarding was one. I was introduced to skiing really young, and I always wanted to be a snowboarder, but I just never, it's something I always wanted to do and just never tried it.
I've already saw 2 things in the chat here that I'm probably not going to try. Shark cage diving and skydiving. I don't know. Maybe there's something with just diving that isn't working for me though. The Maritimes, nice.
Diving would be really cool too.
I see a lot of skydiving here. Like that's extreme.
Yeah. I know a couple of people that have done it. They say it's wild and it's super fun. Safari, yeah, cool.
Spelunking.
Mario Kart in Japan. I want to come with Vivian.
Real Mario Kart? I didn't even know
that.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? For that, we're gonna be towed. My little buddy here.
To Africa, really awesome ones there. Cool.
Love it.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Thanks for the engagement so far. We'll just quickly go over what we're covering today, and then I'm going to pass things over to Aaron. So some of the agenda items, we're going to talk about the ROI of building human connections in your organization. We're going to cover 3 strategies for connection building, how to use rewards and recognition as a tool to build genuine relationships. Stay tuned for an extra special resource freebie at the end. And then we'll also just go over those key takeaways and the Q&A, of course. And of course, love to hear your questions. We like the sessions to be interactive, so obviously inviting all of your questions, and we'll be asking some questions throughout. And with that said, Aaron, I'm going to pass things over to you.
Thank you. And in full transparency, everybody, as I mentioned earlier, we started this. We did get a ice storm here where I'm located, so the kids are home from school. So that's one of the fun parts about working remote these days. Awesome. So why is building human connection so important in an organization? We're going to start this by opening it up to the floor. What do you all think? What do you think why is it so important to build human connections in your own organization? I'll tell you one of my favorites. It's ROI. I mean, believe it or not, there is a return on investment for individuals fortifying connections within. And I'll expand on this a little further when we get into to a few slides later. But Jenna, you and I were chatting earlier the other day on this topic, and you had a few good points. Perhaps you don't mind sharing one?
Yeah, I like what Julie has here with retention, engagement, and culture. That's I'm right up there with you. I also think it's great for improved communication. So I feel like when speaking for myself here, like when employees feel comfortable communicating with one another, you're more likely to share ideas and feedback and insights, leading to better decision making, problem solving. I feel like those strong human connections can lead to improved communication between employees, which can help reduce misunderstandings and, conflict and error. I think it's something that's super important. Humans drive our business.
I think it also helps level out the organization a little bit too, right? When you are able to find commonalities, even with your leaders or executives, and you can just have those casual conversations, you just feel more connected and more welcomed, and just get the sense of more of a belonging. And I really appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love the activity here in the chat, guys. Keep it up. Thank you.
Yeah.
And some of the challenges to building human connections today, culture leaders, is this something similar to what you see? Are you dealing with any of these 3 challenges right now? And if you are, you're not alone. But I just want you to ask yourself this, what would it mean to you and your organization if you could improve on any of these challenges here? Just ask yourself that. And just to move along here, there are a lot of great benefits to building human connections within the organization: improve productivity, increased retention, and reduce burnouts. These three things are huge issues that culture leaders are battling right now. And it's no wonder that the topic of building human connections has been a popular one. Example, improve productivity. Imagine if you could get a 2% productivity lift from each individual within your organization as a result of improved human connections. What kind of positive financial implications would this have on your organization? Increasing retention. When you love working with your bestie, why would you leave them? And I'm sure, right now, maybe you all have besties at work. And then reduce burnout and improve mental health. When you feel connected to your peers, you know that you have the support and peers to lean on when you need assistance. This helps give you the confidence to show up and not feel stressed or drained. You would actually look forward to going to work your day. I know I do every morning. I enjoy working with the people that I work with here. And we're going to kick things off here with our first poll, the first freebie of the session. If you haven't had a chance to check out our most recent playbook and are interested in the topic of building human connections, we'd love to send it to you. We have a chapter around building human connections. So I'll throw up this poll here and just let us know if you'd like a copy of this. And while you do that, I'm just going to take a swig of water. I saw that in the chat here that some others have some of their kitties home today as a result of the snowstorm. And yeah, it was a big one. I think it was came all the way from Colorado and got hit pretty good here. Awesome. I'll leave this up for a little bit longer here and I'll bring it down. Appreciate everyone responding. And I'll give it a few more seconds. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. So, and now the most important part of this masterclass: 3 strategies to consider implementing to build human connections within your organization. And as we move along, we'd love to hear any of your thoughts around this, as the discussion goes on. Perhaps you've seen some examples that work well in your own experience or some stories, and we certainly welcome you to share all those. So if you have examples, feel free to share. Don't be shy. We're all here to support each other and help each other out. So strategy number 1, build spaces and opportunities for people to have meaningful conversations and make meaningful memories together. And that'll lead us to our next poll. And before we get into it, let's just talk about how connection building currently looks in your own organization. I'm going to throw this poll up here and launching now. So do you feel that there are lots of good opportunities to build relationships with people in your own organization? Is it easy to, or do people tend to feel isolated? I'll leave this up just for a moment here. Seeing a wide range of results come in. And yeah, it looks like there are some challenges around this here. Give it a few more seconds here and then I'll move along. Again, appreciate all your participation. Love the chat going off here. Awesome. All right, I'm going to end this one here and we'll move along. So for relationships to foster, it's so important for organizations to provide spaces where people can make those connections. Here are 3 examples of areas where relationships can be built in your organization: communication channels, team events, and various business processes. Of course, there are many other areas, and if you have other areas you want to highlight, just again, feel free to drop them in the chat here. I'll share a few. For example, communication channels, there's Slack, Microsoft Teams, any other chat features that you would have. There's also video calling platforms like Zoom and Google Meets and Teams again. On our communication platform, we even have the specific social groups. So we use Slack, and we have a pet group. So individuals, if they want to share photos of their pets, or if individuals want to share cooking recipes. For myself, I'm a part of the board game and hobby group as well. So it's nice because then you can have individuals who have some sense of commonality to share the interests that they share with others. Team events. So there's lots of different work models now, and you need to be sure that events are easily accessible and inclusive for everyone invited to join. You don't want people feeling left out or that the event is more catered to a certain folks. Variety would also be good. So there are many different preferences and interests. Easier to have people engage and interact if they're enjoying themselves. And process integration. Lots of areas in business structures to intentionally build space for people to connect. Example, coffee stations, right? You have water coolers, coffee stations. And by the way, if anyone here is looking to make a connection within the coffee industry, I have some connections. And if you'd like to be introduced to somebody, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll throw my LinkedIn profile up at the end here, and that way I can help facilitate a introduction for you. Also, dedicate some meeting time for non-shop talk. Ask about the weekend or this week's plans. Take turns suggesting a fun icebreaker question. It also may come in the form of a company-wide rewards and recognition program. And one last note here. I know it's really easy to think, meetings or more face time when we think about building relationships. But I think the key is to make time that we already have together really count, and making connection building into a habit and part of a company culture. The key to building and maintaining successful spaces is consistency and frequency. Since we specialize in rewards and recognition, we'd really love to hammer this point on consistency and frequency home with a few examples on how it really helps to build human connections. For example, options. In a world where we need to build relations across distance and departments and time zones, employees need to feel they need to have many different options or opportunities. And as an example here, we're a distributed company. We have representation across the globe. So for the hubs where most people are located, we created a location where individuals could go and attend and get together. But we're also not forgetting about those individuals who are working remote. And we also create fun online activities as well. And next is promotional efforts. It's when you're hosting an event or implementing a new initiative, how often do you need to remind people that exists and that they should take part? When you build spaces for relationship building, no matter how great they are, getting people to make use of them requires consistent and frequent promotional communication. In marketing, there's a saying, there's a baseline that people need to hear a message at least 7 times before it sticks. Similarly, in our Bucketlist platform, we have email notifications, which you can see an example of here. And we also have the ability to integrate with Slack. We have mobile push notifications to constantly remind people of the great community that they should partake in. We have built-in email notifications and other communication channels as well to ensure that it's top of mind. We also have the ability to create events within the platform as well, so that if you're organizing an event, individuals can also be reminded that this is happening, and it'll drive more participation. Awesome. So next would be role modeling. Remember that kid-friendly saying, monkey see, monkey do. It definitely still applies to us adults. When building spaces where we want to encourage the building of relationships, it's important that the desired behavior is consistently and frequently role modeled. People need to see the leaders use the space as well as their peers. They also need to see the great results that are coming from it. Example, new communication channel on Slack dedicated to talking about achieving personal bucket list items. Great. The more that people see peers participating and sharing, the more likely people will join in. No one wants to be the only one in the Slack channel, or certainly not be the only one consistently attending the company events with low attendance. And I want to give a recognition program example of how these pieces consistently and frequently can come together to help people, build that space and meaningful relationships. So in Bucketlist platform, anyone can give recognition to anyone. There's no limits. Once a recognition starts pouring in, everyone else is able to give recognition. In this example here, a manager would give recognition to an employee, but then the employees and their peers also have the ability to add on and also facilitate in that recognition by joining in with commenting or liking it, or even adding on more points, right? So this is a great way to foster that community around recognition. Awesome. So that's going to lead us to our next strategy. encourage conversations around personal dreams and experiences. And share in the chat if you think this is strange to talk about yourself. I know that some people here have already shared some bucket list items or things that you would like to do, but do you like sharing your personal dreams and experiences with your colleagues? I see Carrie saying no, not at all. I mean, I don't think it's hard either. I know for some it could be a challenge. Sometimes, yeah. Awesome. So it can be a strange feeling, but it's also really easy. And as an example, let's just share in the chat here. What is on your bucket list, or what's something fun you're looking forward to this year? And I know some people have said some things they would like to do. For me personally, I would just love to visit Rome. I think it would be cool. There's a lot of history there. Also a big fan of some of the shows that came out like Gladiator. So I just want to see what it's all about. And Jenna, how about yourself?
Oh, what is an item on my bucket list? I don't know. A lot of mine are travel, to be honest. Like there's a lot of places that I really want to see and experience. Tons of different places.
There's so much to see and so much to do, right?
There is. Yeah. And it's hard to hone in on what's the most important place to go or where, I'm just happy to slowly see it all.
Yeah, I'm just checking in here on some of, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
visiting the pyramids of Egypt. That is totally something that would like to do. Norway, nice. I want to go everywhere. Like I want to do everything that people are saying, but there's almost so much time and so much we have to do that. That's awesome. So why does it work? Helping people connect in different ways, finding commonalities that you didn't know existed before. For example, I shared that I wanted to go to Rome on my bucket list with others. And in doing so, I actually met a peer who's been to Rome, and we started chatting, and he shared with me great advice on do's and don'ts. And then what's funny is that it kind of snowballed into another topic. We then went on to discuss the history, which led to movies, like Gladiator, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of funny how that works, right? You find a commonality, and then you just start opening up and talking about other things where you have things in common with that individual. Awesome. Thanks for the participation, everybody. No, I don't think you have a boring life, Lori. So, sharing and storytelling spark curiosity and compassion and have been shown to foster belonging. Connections make it easier and safer to ask support. When we're invested in each other's personal growth, we build friendships, and if you're fortunate, maybe some lifelong ones. There's also a 1% chance you'll report being fulfilled in life if you lack meaningful relationships at work. And just another example here, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but another way to connect with individuals is I purposely have a backdrop here where I have an arcade basketball machine there and some board games. And in a virtual world, this is also a great way to help connections, help making connections easier. I've had individuals that I've met with, they simply ask, hey, is that an arcade basketball? And we start talking about basketball and we're getting into kids. Oh, you play board games? Or are they puzzles? Like sometimes even just things in the background can set you up for a conversation with someone. Yeah, just checking the chat here. You guys are awesome. Perfect. So how do we get the ball rolling on personal conversations about our dreams and passions? As many of you shared earlier, it can be strange if you're not used to it. Here are some ideas to get started. Leaders have to set the tone, both in casual and more structured conversations. Make it a normal thing to have conversations. Start interactions with non-shop talk and make an effort to show interest in an employee's personal life. Remember what people share and be excited for your employees when they tick things off their bucket lists. The language you use also matters. Company offsites, team bonding exercise that involve deeper questions. One of the questions we like to ask is, what's something that you're most proud of? And then also, what's a challenge you've encountered in life that's shaped who you are today? At work, teammates tend to spend a lot of time talking about safe issues like weather and sports. And there's nothing wrong with that because those are sometimes great ways to move a conversation deeper. But having team members share deeper aspects of their life helps to really deepen the relationships within the team and set the tone for talking more openly about their dreams and passions. And you can see here, we got a nice little quote here that we're a big fan of quotes. Julie loves it. I'm not sure if that was a comment based on something we'd shared or if she's commenting on something in the chat here, but either way, I love it. It's just like positivity, right? Like it's just so contagious. All right. So celebrate key milestones and personal achievements together. People have special days that are important to them personally. Example, birthdays, work anniversaries, family milestones. A good way to make sure we can celebrate adequately with people is to house these dates somewhere. And if they're comfortable, we can celebrate with them together. And for example, in Bucketlist, you can see here, all those dates are programmed right into our platform to help automate the reminders of work anniversaries and birthdays. So you don't have to worry about forgetting anymore. It helps people to feel extra special when you have a birthday announcement and you see individuals liking it and commenting on. I guess it's the digital way of signing a birthday card these days. And also because there's visibility on upcoming birthdays and work anniversaries within the platform, I'll share an example here. So my birthday's in July. It's on July 12th. And I saw coming up in the feed that another individual in our company had the same birthday as me. And I've never met anyone who had the same birthday. So this is actually something that him and I now have something in common. Wait, someone else has the same birthday as me, July 12th? Right here, Robin? Wow.
I'm May 12th.
July 12th. That's awesome, Robin. See, we found something in common now. We're summer. There's no way there's two other people. 70 people here and we got two in the same birthday as me. That is so cool. So I love having my birthday in July, and I'm sure you guys do as well. I'll give you guys a virtual high five there. And you can see how easy it is, right? Simply sharing a birthday, how you can start a conversation and get something on the side there. Love it. And you can also see here, individuals can also create goals within the platform. This is another way for individuals to share and get excited about things that are happening within people's personal lives. It doesn't need to be extreme. It can be something as simple as adopting a pet or going on a hike, or for myself, I've set a personal goal of climbing the CN Tower stairs. So yeah, it's nice because when it's publicized like this, individuals can help support you. Awesome. A lot of July babies here. So also help make employees' dreams come true. Once you know what people's dreams and passions are, there are opportunities for us to help them achieve their dreams. And it's a really big thing in our company here at Bucketlist culture. We talk about bucket list items because of our bucket list benefit. And I'll actually explain something really cool that we have. So at Bucketlist, we have this benefit where everyone in the organization receives an extra day off. And on top of that, we receive $500, which helps contribute to any items on our own bucket list. And Jenna, I think you have a really cool story here that maybe you could share.
Yeah, I recently used my benefit this year, in November. So just last year, my husband and I, we celebrated, it was our 5-year wedding anniversary and like 10 years of dating anniversary. And it was always a big dream of both of ours to be able to go to an NFL game. And so on our anniversary weekend, it was like the Seattle Seahawks versus Raiders. So it was a really great game to go and attend. So we went on our anniversary weekend, spent it in Seattle, and like it just outdoes any gift card, any, extra check, because an experience is something that you'll just have forever. And it's so much more impactful than like, here's money for coffee, etc. So this is just something that we're going to carry with us for the rest of our lives, and such a cool experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that too. And I'll add to going to an NFL game is also on my bucket list. I'm a Bills fan, so I'm about 50 minutes from the stadium and have not yet attended a NFL game. So I'm kind of jealous, but also excited too, because when I go, then we'll be able to share and have that conversation about what our first experience was each like. You can also see there's some other examples here. We've had individuals who wanted to go to some really overly expensive restaurants just to get a sense of what that would feel like. And then we also had individuals who just wanted to visit the Rocky Mountains and some really cool things. We also share individually here at Bucketlist. We'll widely share on social media as well as internally in Slack, which is our communication channel we use. It can be used as a fun conversation starter and a continuer. It's also a great way to leverage your own staff to promote how awesome your organization is. And people will associate their good memories with their employer, and they're proud to share the generosity of their employer with their friends and family. And for example, these employees will share the moments on social media, like whether it's their personal social media or LinkedIn or Instagram. I've also seen companies create awards around this to encourage that. And what that's going to do is further showcase your culture. And it's just you're going to leverage your own staff to promote the great things that are going on in your organization. Of course, every organization has a different budget. We understand that, and I think it's accepted. But there are ways to make this happen on a smaller scale. For example, some companies may not have a large budget for rewards. So what you do is you offer non-monetary experiences. And I'll give you some examples. You can build PTOs into as an experience or as an option. You can have things like lunch with your boss. I've seen boss does your job in a restaurant chain before. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite ones is CEO calls your mom. Anytime I share that one, everyone's like, wait, CEOs will really do that? Well, if your CEO is on board with culture and like really is in tune with what you're trying to achieve, I think it's a great one. Sometimes the most memorable moment an employee will ever have is when a senior leader gives them some form of recognition. And what better recognition for them to call a family member and say how awesome you are. Awesome. And if you guys have questions or comments also, we'll try to get to them as we get towards the end here in the Q&A. So, and that brings us to our third strategy. Strive towards a culture of recognition. The act of recognition is powerful in building connections because you see the impact that your actions have on someone else. A variety of emotions can be involved, vulnerability, gratitude, pride, happiness, etc. I would like to take a moment, just for a moment here, to ask you all here, how does recognition make you feel? So when you receive recognition, how does it make you feel? Maybe just share it in the chat here, and we'll take a moment just to see how it makes everyone feel. Appreciated, valued, anxious, if done public. All right, warm and glowing, motivated, nice. Yeah, these are all great. Connected to the person who recognized me. Yeah. Awesome. So those are all great. I'm gonna flip it now, as we still get some comments in here. Love it. I'm gonna flip it. So now I'm curious to know, how does it make you feel when you're the one giving recognition and you're making someone feel good, like how you felt? So how does it make you feel when you're giving someone positive recognition? Yeah, fulfilled. Nice. How does it make you feel, Jenna, when you give recognition?
That makes me feel really good. I would say like fulfillment and just, I don't know, it just creates a great energy for that moment and kind of the rest of the day. I love recognizing, either an individual one-to-one, or you can do group recognitions for someone who may have helped you on like a larger project. If there was a couple people, like there's no limitations on recognition, and it does feel good. I like to get recognitions as well. It makes me feel seen across a company, and especially with people in a remote work environment and you're really distributed, it's really easy to miss really important things and see what's happening in the organization. So it's just cool to kind of feel included.
Yeah, that's a good point too. So I've worked for a variety of different companies, some really large organizations, some global organizations. I've never felt more connected to individuals that I work with than I have here within Bucketlist. And the funny thing about that is that I haven't even really met everyone because we're right. But I feel like I know everyone. Like Jenna, I haven't met you in person yet, although we do have a company event coming up where we'll have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, like, when you're building a culture of recognition, how people feel more connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boomerang.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that I do like that one. And it's kind of like paying it forward too. When you give recognition to somebody, they're going to feel good because you've already mentioned here in the chat how it makes you feel, and how it makes them feel. When you receive it, sometimes you're going to pay it forward and you're going to feel more inclined to go on and give someone else recognition. And then that person's going to go and it becomes this whole snowball effect, right? So start with the snowball at the top of the hill and push it down and just watch that recognition flow.
I think too, it's important to just quickly off of that, like, remember that, some people, they might be a little bit more shy and like, they don't want to receive it. You can recognize someone one-to-one as well. Like, they can still be included in a recognition, just like, hey, you did great work, without, putting it somewhere for everyone to see. Everyone's going to have different personalities and different feelings around that. And there's so many ways to still recognize people in, all these unique ways. So it's really important to always be including it.
So true. And I'm going to touch on something else here as it pertains to recognitions. What about recognitions that are tied to core values? And I'm going to ask you all a really tough question right now. And I want you to be honest. For everyone here that's attending in this session, are you able to recite your own company core values from memory? Just simply drop a yes or a no. Don't be shy. No one's going to, okay, I'm seeing some yeses. That's awesome. Wow.
I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Yeah.
I am super impressed because I will tell you, we have a no, which is that's not a bad thing at all.
No.
And Debbie, that's not a problem. So in my experience, only about 20% of HR leaders are able to successfully name their company's core values. And I've even spoken to individuals who've written the core values for company. And I'm like, hey, can you tell me your core values? They're like, hold on a second. I see them shuffling through papers, trying to find what the core values are. And again, that's nothing wrong with that. It just means that they're not constantly being reminded, or they're not in a place that is going to create awareness or become top of mind. And just to further expand on core values, do the values you have in place for your organization align with the importance of building connections and recognition? And I'll give you an example. Our core values here at Bucketlist, we have 4 of them: achieve life goals, get it done, raise the bar, care for customers and each other. And those core values do align with helping, foster this culture of recognition, and really aligns with what we're trying to achieve here. Awesome. Great topic. So the key to building a successful culture of recognition is making it fun. As you've heard in my intro, I'm a big advocate for fun, but it's also got to be easy for people to participate. Having fun at work is also important for feeling engaged. You're going to feel more creative and feeling like there's a purpose to what we have done at work. In fact, 81% of employees at companies ranked as great found their work environment fun. And there's definitely a correlation between being a great place to work and a fun place to work. So even ask yourself, like, what are some other fun activities or ways that you can create more fun within your own organization? I'll just leave it up there. Nice little quote there. Again, big fan of quotes. Since we specialize in rewards and recognition, we'd really love to hammer home this point on having fun is an accessible way as a key not only to building a culture of recognition, but also for building human relationships as well. Let's take the concept of play at work. A study done by Brigham Young University found that when people played a collaborative game together for 45 minutes, their productivity increased by 20%. So what are some of your favorite ways to have fun at work? How does it help building relationships? What are some examples of fun things that you guys are doing in your own work environment? Also, a rewards and recognition platform will help gamify it, right? So to make it fun, giving and receiving kudos is fun, as we've already mentioned, gets people in the habit of encouraging recognition here. Awesome. I see some chats. You guys are such good participants here. I love it. I see people talking about food. Yeah, it's a little bit past lunch here, so drop the food comments, get a little hungry.
Some good ones here. There's a lot of variety of different things that people are doing.
Yeah, and this is the idea. Like, we share these ideas here in this environment. If you see something great, like, use it. I think we all want to have better cultures in our own organizations, and if we leverage what each other are using, then we are all helping each other. And of course, as you culture leaders know, implementing something like a culture of recognition successfully means that it needs to be easy for people to participate and reap the benefits. Some examples of making things easy. We'll share some high-level ideas here and give examples of what that could look like. Using bucket list rewards, for example. Number one, we want to make things intuitive and user-friendly. So we've intentionally lowered the learning curve and made the usage similar to other social media platforms so that it's more intuitive for people to create recognitions, post and scroll through the news feed, and also to engage with the recognitions, whether it's liking or commenting or even adding on more points if that's something you would allow. I mean, when it looks familiar to them, it's going to be easier and they're going to be more inclined to use it. And I love that photo of the cat. I mean, I think I probably wake up looking like that every day. So actual footage of me waking up and trying. And this is a real recognition within our platform, by the way. Cool. I love it. Also, take advantage of the visuals. I'm a big fan of GIFs. I know some people call them GIFs. I think that's, depending where you're from, I think they call them something different. Images are another great way. Colors, and use emojis for added elements of fun. So definitely encourage that. Prizes and rewards. So rewards are fun, right? So you can offer a wide range of options depending on budget. Some examples of lower cost options that we've seen are just tours, small spa days, but then you can go as extreme as in this example here, someone did flight lessons and they used their points that they earned through recognition to have I'd call this a life experience. It seems cool. I'm not sure if I would do that. I'm not sure if I want to get behind a plane wheel. Is it even a wheel? I don't know. Something. Also, fairness and standardization. Keep things fair and standardized, no favoritism, and everything is super transparent. And eliminate the manual work. So make it easier for administrators, make it easier for individuals who are part of the platform. No more manual work or spreadsheets required. Automation for the win. Who doesn't love some time back and things easier, right? Also, I see he's a big fan of emojis. Yeah, I'm going to scroll up here. I think I've seen quite yeah, we got some emojis happening here. Even a boomerang emoji. Yeah, food makes things fun. Certainly does. Sorry, just checking out some of the comments here. Yeah, Employee Appreciation Day, everybody. So as I see someone comment on here, as a reminder, Employee Appreciation Day is on March 3rd. So if you don't have something planned, we're giving you the heads up that it's next week. Awesome. All right. So what does the culture of recognition mean to you? And what does it look like? So I'm going to throw another poll up here. So give me a moment while I get that set up. There we go. And while you're answering the poll, if you're thinking about including a few questions about recognition in your next employee engagement survey this year, we have a template. And depending on your needs, we can pick a few or all to include to help give you that pulse check. So let us know if you'd be interested in that by just commenting here in the chat after you've answered the poll here. We can give you, we can provide that link for you. I see kind of like mixed results coming in here. It's like all over. There's
very much all over. There's no consistency.
I do love seeing the high scores here, the 10s, and there's nothing wrong with the 4s or the 3s or whatever, because at least you've identified that there is room for improvement. And for those who are maybe answering on the 8, 9, and 10 scale, yeah, let us know. Let us know what you're doing to get this culture of recognition mindset. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to stop that. Perfect. So we'll move along here. In summary, human connections is critical to a thriving workplace. 3 strategies to consider when building connections in an organization. build spaces and opportunities for people to have meaningful conversations and make meaningful memories together. Encourage conversations around personal dreams and experiences, and strive towards a culture of recognition. I'll leave that up there just for a moment, just to give you guys a little bit of insight there. Awesome. And Jenna, over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Aaron. So in the spirit of keeping things fun and easy, we created a special recognition card for this session. So even though things can get quite busy and quite stressful, there's tons of awesome people that make me smile or go out of their way to do something thoughtful. I'd invite you to send this to someone you want to give a kudos to this week. If you share it on LinkedIn, please don't hesitate to tag us in it. We love seeing recognitions, and we'll reshare it as well to help spread positivity. I'm going to share in the chat for the download for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, I also shared the freebie from the last slide there, and as Jenna pops in the new one here, perfect. Yeah, don't be shy. Pass that out to someone. Let them know that you appreciate them. You've already shared with us all, how it makes you feel when you receive recognition. You've also shared how it makes you feel when you're giving recognition. So send this to someone personally, or if you feel so inclined to share it on LinkedIn and tag us, then we'd love to also spread that positivity by also sharing it and resharing it.
Awesome, thanks.
And who doesn't love Winnie the Pooh, right? Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. I almost want to do like a Winnie Pooh the voice there, but I don't think I could pull it off. Awesome. All right. Another poll here. We're almost done. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy this webinar? And I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. So give me a moment here while I bring this up here. I see someone commenting at 10. I love it. We'll throw up the poll here so you can see. You guys are too nice. We'll leave this up for a moment here. For us, we're always looking at ways to improve on our webinars, and this is the first of our masterclass session. So we totally appreciate all the feedback, even ways that we can improve. We're always trying to strive to be better as well. We want to make sure that what we're sharing with you are things that you're looking for. And at least if you've been here for this whole session, if you have one takeaway, it's been worth your time. I have a history in training in martial arts, and I learned this from my sensei. So I always asked him when I was a young student, Sensei, why do I need to go to this seminar? Why do I need to go and do this? And he says, Aaron, if you can go to this session and learn one thing, it was worth your time. And that stuck with me. So that's my my little tip here. If there's one thing that stuck with you, then I hope it was worth your time. Awesome. I'm going to end the poll. Appreciate the feedback. Awesome. And a rewards and recognition platform is a great way to help with building human connections in the workplace. And with that said, we're also very passionate, and we would love to help you find solutions to lowering turnover, recognizing the amazing work, and bringing your staff together through an engaged rewards and recognition platform. We've built some awesome programs with companies of all sizes across the globe. It doesn't matter on the industry, it doesn't matter on the size of your organization, it doesn't matter where you're located. We worked with some really cool brands, like some of the ones you can see here, but we've also worked with Interact, Danone, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Peter Piper Pizza, just to name a few. So I am going to throw up another poll, and if you'd like to learn more, then let me know. So let me get this going here. And launch. So if you'd like to learn more about Bucketlist Rewards, we'd love to chat with you. No obligation. We just want to share some best practices if we can, and give you some insight as to how we can help you. I'll leave this up for a little bit here as well. And we're
in the
almost
meantime, I'm going to pop into the chat just some of the credits for people, just so that it's here as well. For anyone that needs that information, it's just in the chat there as well.
Great. And for anyone who's saying, yeah, you'd like to have a discussion with us, we're totally looking forward to that. If anything, if we can share some more best practices with you on a one-to-one level, then that's great. Awesome. All right. I'm going to close the poll and we will continue here. Thank you, everybody. And as Jenna mentioned,
Yeah, pop that into the chat.
Perfect. We'll leave it up here for a little bit. Give everyone a sense, or at least the opportunity to write these down. Krista, you're welcome. Yeah, appreciate you guys. We do have some time for Q&A at the end here. We do have some questions that came in a little bit ahead of time. I'm just going to give you guys another moment here if you need to write these down or copy them from the chat. Perfect. All right, Jenna.
Perfect. Yeah, that's going to bring us to our Q&A. And also, we're talking about human connections, and we love connecting with others as well over here. So if you're on LinkedIn, be sure to connect with us. We're always happy to continue the conversation or just support each other, wherever we're at in our journeys. So please feel free to reach out. Also, if you have any further questions after this that pop up, we're always happy to help. We're always happy to educate. We're here for you. So let's get into some questions here, Erin. I had a couple come in. And thank you to everyone who has submitted questions. Someone was asking if rewards can expire.
Yeah, good question. So in our platform, for example, no, but some rewards may have seasonal elements to them. So during the redemption process, there would be clearly defined details in place. And also for anyone who is looking to connect with us on LinkedIn, I've dropped my profile link there. And so feel free to connect. Oh yeah, let me go back here and I'll get the credits back for you. There you go.
Yeah, we can leave that up while I read out these questions here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? Let's do
On my
that.
dash here. What's another question here? How can employee wellness program create a sense of community while rewarding and recognizing employees? What are other companies doing to incorporate physical wellness challenges?
Yeah, that's a good one too. We've seen some companies do walking challenges with a goal in place. In fact, I'm on the social committee here at Bucketlist, and spoiler alert, Jenna, we're talking about maybe doing one ourselves, where we're going to have a goal and also then maybe rewarding and recognizing staff who've met that target, right? So if you have a target of a certain amount of steps, you can calculate that and capture that data. And then maybe create some awards around that, right? So they don't need to have monetary values, but if you want to include monetary values, you can. But what you're doing is you're creating behaviors, right? So that's something that we've seen when companies speak to us.
Cool. How to make people feel that recognition is fair?
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, I believe that fairness has a few aspects to it. Standardization and transparency. It can feel unfair when one person is recognized with like a $10 Starbucks gift card and another person is recognized with a spa day. So when you standardize with something like a rewards and recognition platform, there are points involved, which makes it a little bit more fair. It's also completely transparent when you know exactly how many points are being gifted around and how the system works. So it's consistent, it's formal. You're going to be able to run reports on it, which help also make things fair. Of course, making sure that not the same five people are being recognized all the time. Peer-to-peer is an awesome way to mitigate this. Since more people have the power to give recognition, right? There are also more eyes to catch all the awesome things that are being done. And lastly, leaders, and I know we mentioned this earlier, they need to set the tone, right? They're the ones that are going to set the pace for everyone else in the organization. This can be either with them posting recognition and allowing individuals to follow. But again, they're the ones that are going to set the tone and other individuals will follow. Also in our platform, you can run reports, as I mentioned, on all the recognitions. So yeah, good questions.
I just had a question come in here about someone who's pretty new at this. They're just wondering if there's literature available for the team. Yeah, so we can send over some resources your way, absolutely. And also the playbook would be a really great resource that we'll send over as well. I also had someone asking about what about people who, don't really like to be in the spotlight or like be recognized on like a wide platform kind of scale. Do you have any kind of suggestions around that? Maybe with more introverted personalities as well, it's kind of, some people might take recognition like, it's not everyone's cup of tea, right? How do you work around that?
Yeah, so internally, like I'll use our development team as an example. I would say that they're actually the most active. Like I see a lot of recognition happening within the development team. Maybe typically those are the type of individuals who aren't really looking for publicized recognition. But we'd have to pull some stats on that. I think that they're probably leading the charge on recognition.
Yeah, awesome. All right, we'll have time. I'll just pull up one more question here. How will I know whether my supervisor values my work and thinking of rewarding and recognizing my performance?
That's a good one. Yeah. So it's such an important question. Managers and leaders are so important when it comes to recognition. Lots of studies show that one of the top reasons that people leave organizations is because they don't feel recognized or valued by their managers. I'm sure like even some of us here could relate to that. So great ways to show recognition as a leader is, of course, telling people that they're doing a great job. Again, we've mentioned it here multiple times, what it feels like to give recognition, what it feels like to receive recognition. The key is frequency and consistency. Don't just wait for the annual performance review. If you have a weekly one-on-one with individuals on your team, use that as an opportunity to give them kudos or send messages, give feedback on the spot when it comes up, right? You don't need to wait for a meeting. If something great comes up, say it there. And within Bucketlist, if you're recognized, you'll also receive an email notification, push notification on your phone. And if you're using communication tools like Slack or Teams, it'll also be posted there. So yeah, great questions, everybody. I know that we're pretty much at time here, so maybe we could give you all a little bit of time back. Jenna, thanks for hosting with myself here. It's been great. I think everybody here has been awesome. Debbie, now thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And good luck in your next meeting. Yeah, so for everybody that's attended, thank you. Jenna, thanks again. And we look forward to sharing more with you guys all in the future.